Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Spirituality for Badass Babes. And today I have this badass babe with me today, Samantha Thompson. Hello, Samantha. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Fantastic. Samantha is a shamanic healer and she helps women release energetic blocks around money. And we all know how money blocks are. That is a big part of the wounds, that the limiting beliefs that I work with a lot of my clients as well. So I'm so excited to have you here with us because you approach it in like more of an embodiment and a shamanic way, which I'm so interested to find out. But before we get started, what makes you a spiritual badass?
Ooh, that's a good one. What makes me a spiritual badass is fierce devotion. I feel like fierce devotion to my service here on the planet with other women. And, we always have opportunities to either step down away from our soul mission or step up into it. And I just feel a really strong, like warrior-like fierce devotion to my path and what I do.
Ooh, so good. So I resonate so much with the warrior inside as well. So that's so beautiful. So I'm so excited to have you. So let's chat. What is a shamanic healer and how do you work with wounds around money from a shamanic standpoint? And then we'll also be diving into your secret system that you've created, which your embodiment. So we'll talk about that later though.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm trained under the Peruvian lineage of shamanic healing. So there's shamans in every continent, which is a beautiful thing. And I'm trained specifically under the Peruvian lineage through a woman who was also trained in the Peruvian lineage. So shamanic healing is basically, I always say it asks for depth from us. It asks from us to see deeper than just the surface level, than just the mind, than just the tangible things we can see, right? So if it has to do with healing, like the body per se, if you have like pain in your chest, right? You're dealing with pain in your chest. A shamanic practitioner would look at that as there's a deeper reason. There's an emotional or energetic reason that that's happening. It's not just, oh, I have a pain in my chest, right? And of course, like given like, okay, if you ate something bad, like maybe you have, there's some realistic perspectives. But when it comes to money, how I kind of blend the two is I've seen that women who struggle with money blocks, we can call them, but struggle with their relationship with money, it's not necessarily like, oh, I need to do a new business strategy, or, oh, I need to do all these physical things. I need to show up more. I need to blah, 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 blah. Sometimes, yeah, but most of the time it's deeper, right? It's, do I feel in my body worthy of receiving for my heart's mission? Do I feel okay and safe in my body to be seen in my power and receive money for that, right? So it's a lot of the like, how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about your mission here? And can we train your body and your energy to receive like your divine wealth through what you're doing here?
That's beautiful. And that also marries into that whole masculine and feminine energies as well, which I talk about on this podcast very, very often. It's a big part of the work that I do as well. And yeah, it's so important to not only have all of the structures, but also have that embodiment of the receiving and how are you feeling, like that whole feminine, like whole feelings. That's all about it. So how would we embody, because you also do a lot of work with embodiment towards money specifically. How would you explain that to someone that has no idea? They're like, embody money. And you're like, I have no idea where to get started. So how would you explain that to someone?
That's a beautiful question. So in all of my work and all of life, I've seen this kind of like pattern is we need two things. We need the healing piece. So like dismantling the blocks, really taking care of and nourishing our shadow, right? We need the healing piece, which is where shamanic healing comes in for me and helping women around money and self-worth and that kind of stuff. But then like, we can't stay there. We can't stay in always looking at the shadows, always looking at the beliefs, always look at the, So for me, the embodiment piece is every single day, whether we know it or not, we're training for something, right? We're training through our thoughts, we're training through our feelings, we're training through our actions. So if we're not consciously training for more money, or consciously training for a bigger impact in the world, or whatever you want, if you're not consciously training, the way the human works is we'll just stay the same, right? That's just like simple psychology. We will stay the same. So for me, the embodiment piece is I have specific like embodiment practices. That means all you're doing is you're training your body and your feelings to be ready for that next level of income that you desire, wherever that is. If it's you want your first client or you want your first 30K month, it's the same training, but it requires we bring like your nervous system and your body online. Does that make sense?
Ooh, yeah, that's fascinating. I recently just had a woman on the show talking about the nervous system. So let's chat about that. How would you bring the nervous system? Because they are already familiar with it. The audience is, and reprogramming their bodies through their nervous system. So how would you program your body, your nervous system towards money?
Yeah. So it's funny because we'll talk about money, but it's not really about money.
It's not.
Yeah, right. Like it's not about money. To me, I root it down into one word, and that is we have to get comfortable receiving goodness, or someone could say God, or someone could say the universe or the divine. To me, it's easy to just say like, okay, I'm worthy of goodness in my life. Like I'm worthy of feeling the good in my life. So how we bring the nervous system online is through, let's think like, what is the body work on? The body works on our breath. The body works on our vocal, our sound. The body works on our genitals, our pleasure, right? So these are all like our embodied technology to rework ourselves into receiving goodness and exiting the state we're normally in of like, I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. And I got to figure this out. Well, what if you're taken care of? Like, what if you can just like feel that in you? And that opens you up energetically, emotionally, mentally to receive what's in front of you rather than like sabotage it potentially.
Ooh, so good. I love it. So I have a question for you. How, going back to shamanic, like being a shaman, a shamanic healer, how, you were trained under the Peruvian lineage. How did you get started with that for someone that's thinking of maybe being a shaman and they don't know where to start, where to look? You said there's shamans all over the world, of course, but like, why did you pick that specific one and how did you get started with that?
Yeah. It's funny, like I'm obsessed with just being like really like I want the depth out of life, like the fullest depth possible. I want to live intimately and live rich, like richly with earth and life and the humans around me. And I've always known I wanted some sort of like deeper profession, right? I wouldn't be satisfied with like anything less, which is why most women become entrepreneurs. But for the shamanic tradition, it's commonly said that it comes to you, right? That
That's
like,
what I've heard as well. The
yeah,
shamanic calling.
yeah, that it comes to you. And I've known that for a while. So I set the intention maybe 4 years ago. I was like, shamanism sounds cool. I want to do that, but I'm not going to seek it, right? Because I'm going to let it present itself in perfect timing. And it did. It presented it through a woman who was training under the shaman I train under. And it was super easeful. She invited me to meet her. And that's kind of how I got introduced to it. And then I said yes to the training with the woman. It was a year long. And yeah, so it really came to me. But I mean, anyone can become a healer. Anyone can choose to be trained in that path. But yeah, I like coming to me. It feels like a gift. And also you can search shamans around you and ask for training.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's so powerful. Like when we set the intention out there and just be back in that feminine flow, like it's going to come to you in the right divine timing. We don't know when it is, but the right divine timing, especially with that power of intention as well. That's so beautiful and so powerful. So my next question for you is your beautiful RSMF, right? System.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let's chat. What is that? How did you develop it? What can we use it for? Let's chat all about it.
Yeah, so the Rsmf system is something I created that is designed to help female entrepreneurs heal within their energetic and emotional blocks to money, right? Originally, it's created for money and men, but we're talking specifically around money. Everything I create.
It's cool.
What'd you say?
We could talk men too. It's cool.
Beautiful. Yeah. So everything I create is system. It's foundational within. So we can really use it for everything. But the Rsmf system has to do with your body's wisdom, right? So the R is the root chakra, the S is the sacral, the M is masculine, and the F is feminine. So I've found that specifically the root and the sacral, those have the most blocks to money. So we're dealing with, do I feel safe to receive it? Do I feel worthy of my desires? Right? Do I feel worthy of feeling my emotions about money so that I can connect to my desires? Okay, so in that system, I teach like exactly how to heal the root chakra around money and like our ancestral trauma with money, that kind of stuff, as well as like, okay, how can we connect our desire to money and really let that like flow begin to happen? And of course, if your audience knows all about masculine, feminine, like we know like masculine, okay, we need good structures for money. We have to know how to be still and how to create intention and stuff like that. And then the feminine piece is, can you liberate yourself fully in your expression to be magnetic to the money? Right.
Ooh, can you go a little bit deeper about that? Because most people, when they think of money wounds and money energy in general, most people think it's very masculine, but that's not true at all. Money is actually the feminine, and it's the feminine wound that needs to be healed. So can you go into that feminine and masculine around money?
Yeah. To me, it's like, it's so specific to the human, right? To each person. In my opinion, we each have masculine and feminine wounds around anything, right? I think our masculine and feminine comes from our childhood and how and who we archetypally discerned as the masculine or the feminine, right? But what that can look like is like an unhealed masculine, or what I call the immature masculine, can look like he's super critical, right? He says you can't feel your emotions, or he is the nice guy who doesn't actually set any structure in your life. And then for the feminine, the wounding around the feminine can be like, okay, the victim feminine is one of the energies I work with. So I need money to save me. I need someone to figure this out for me, rather than taking responsibility for why you don't have money, right? That's just an example, but what it really comes down to, in my opinion, is healing each masculine and the feminine energy into their like divine archetype, which would be to me like consciousness or God and Mother Earth. So those are the archetypes we're kind of going to receive money, because that is like our soul's alignment at its highest.
Yeah, beautiful. And we're always trying to open ourselves up in different ways to receive more. Let's chat about boys then, because you brought it up. So how would you apply your system towards attracting men as well?
Yeah, so it's always an inner game, right? Like I'm sure everyone, every spiritual badass listening to this knows like, okay, our inner world is what's creating our external, right? So if we're talking about the Rsmf system and how that applies, we would look at like, okay, I have a program called Heal Your Relationship to Money, Men, and God that I ran. And it is like teaching the Rsmf system and how to heal your relationship to each of those things. But for like a short kind of summary, is the root, right? How is our root chakra relating to men? Do we trust men? Do we feel safe with men? Or are we like subconsciously like, don't trust you, pushing you away? Exactly, push them away, exactly. And it's so subconscious, but what are the patterns we saw in our ancestral like relationships with our parents, right? In regards to men. And then coming into the sacral, like that has a lot to do with like control dynamics. Like okay, what are my desires and how can I just own those desires and like magnetize those desires? And then the masculine is like, okay, if our inner masculine is shitty and tells us, oh, like you're being over dramatic. If we tell ourselves we're being over dramatic, we're being over emotional. If we don't show up for our own feminine, we're going to attract a partner who doesn't, right? We'll attract the same thing outside of us. And then our feminine is super fun when it comes to attracting aligned love, because it's like, okay, who are you? Like what is your natural liberated expression, your juiciness, your soul embodied? Like, what is the key with the feminine is the body. Like, what is your energy expressed through your body? And how are you being you through your body? That's what, to me, magnetizes men and money, like literally being yourself.
Oh, that's so good. There's a book that I've read. I can't remember who it's by, but it was called Calling in the One. And she talks about something similar, like acting as if you've already have that person, embodying. Like that's what any kind of manifestation is, like fully embodying, because that's what most people I think are missing with manifestation. They'll do the meditating, they'll do the journal prompts, they'll do all the manifestations, but like they're not fully embodying that person that they already are and still being themselves at the same time. So that's a beautiful way of explaining that. So I'm curious, how can someone like really simply start implementing this system into their daily lives, just in anything that they're doing, whether they want to manifest money or men or women, whatever. How can they like take away at home and start implementing those systems into their daily lives?
Yeah. And I want to give a little disclaimer, like real quick, to the men piece, right? Because I say men because that's what I felt authentically responsible to teach, because I had shitty relationships with men, including like from my dad onward, right? So to me, it's very specifically to men because of the societal dynamics, right? Aligned love does not mean you're attracting a man, but I'm speaking directly to the societal response we as women have in our bodies to male humans.
Procreate with men. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's an energetic thing, but love has nothing to do with men, women, whatever, right? Just wanted to give that disclaimer to be clear. So the question is, if I'm getting it right, how can we simply begin to embody that so that we can attract what we desire? Yeah. Well, my question is, whoever is listening, what is your practice with your body look like now? Do you have nothing, like you don't really have a relationship with your body? Or are you already consciously doing yoga, breath work, whatever? Because it's going to depend really where you're at. If you don't really have a practice with your body, I would start by like, okay, spend 15 minutes a day, like paying attention to what are you feeling in your body? What are you feeling? And then another edge would be, can you move that feeling through your body? So if you're feeling sadness, what shape does your body want to take in response to sadness because you don't have the lever yet, right? Like, can we fully give permission to that emotion to move through us? If we're feeling angry because a potential client wanted to work with us and now she or he doesn't, right? If we're feeling that anger is going to block money and opportunity from coming, right? So how can we give permission to the anger through our body? So can you set a timer for 10 minutes and just be fucking angry and just let yourself be angry? Like, can it be that simple? Like, and I think it can. So that emotional movement, that flow, that feminine flow, is going to allow like your energy to flow, and then more energy in your life to flow, more opportunity, more money, more circumstances, situations, simply from starting within and like feeling your emotions. So
Back to that feminine full
yeah.
circle.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really powerful what you said. Like actually feeling, I say this to my clients all the time. It's like welcoming in those emotions. Like we all get them. We're human at the end of the day. And if we are not welcoming emotions, whatever they are, whether positive or negative, we're kind of resisting them at that point. But we need to actually welcome them in so they could work through us, work through our bodies, and then release. If it is that anger, like be angry, welcome in that anger. So that is awesome. Any other final tips, tricks you can share with people on just embodiment in general?
Yeah, I really want to speak to what you just said about like welcoming in the emotions, because that has changed my life, really. Like, I used to resist the feminine so hard to the point where I didn't feel anything. I numbed myself with food, weed, school, all these things. And it led to me having disease in my body and led to chronic pain, autoimmune disease, all these things. And feeling my emotions and doing that emotional work is what released physical symptoms from my body to where I don't have physical symptoms anymore. So the importance of feeling, okay, if you don't have health problems, that's beautiful. Think like that's beautiful. But also the same system of feeling allows for the natural flow in our life. And it really is a gift. So the anger we feel is a gift for something for our soul's evolution. There's always some sort of gift in the emotion. And when we start seeing the gift, that's when we really value the feminine in our lives, and we're able to show up more authentically as ourselves. And we're able to attract the people who are meant, the clients, the lover, the money, all of that that's meant for us. But can we love ourselves when we're angry? Can we allow that? So if I had like one tip for my whole life, my boyfriend mentioned to me the other day, like, if you could do a TED talk, what would you talk about? And I was like, what is so important for me to talk about that I would actually want to put in the work to be in front of a bunch of people and do that, right? And I came down to, how important emotions are, how important they are for our lives, our businesses, our relationships, and what a gift they are. So if I could leave your people, your tribe with anything, it's like, can you find value in your emotions right now and see how that enriches your life and your business?
Ooh, that's so good. I recently just started doing a new morning practice. I switch up my morning routines like every so often, every couple of months. And
Good.
like as soon as I wake up, I'll meditate now and then I'll go into my journaling. Like I quit journaling for a while, but then now I like really journaling first thing in the morning, getting all of those emotions out, getting all of those thoughts out, like from the beginning of the day. And then I'll just go into tapping. It's so good to connect to those emotions, like from the day before, from the day what I'm feeling now, from maybe some crazy dreams that I've had or whatever.
Yeah. The dream.
Connect to that feminine like first thing in the morning. It's been so powerful. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Where can they follow you? But can they know more about your system as well?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Royal, ROYAL, period, feminine. So royal.feminine. And my Facebook is the same, Sam Thompson, but it's facebook.com/royal.feminine, because there's a lot of Samantha Thompsons in the world.
I'm sure
um,
there is. It's a very common.
what'd you say?
I'm sure there is. It's a very common name.
Yeah, absolutely. And I run group programs on and off throughout the year of practicing the embodiment for more money, because I think nothing's more important than our practice in it. So I run group programs, I do one-on-one shamanic healing and embodiment for more money. And those are the main ways I work. Sometimes I'll do random master classes, like I have one coming up this Saturday. But yeah, all of my spaces are tailored energetically and emotionally to the people. So yeah, I'm excited for anyone who resonates with this. You can reach out to me on any of my social platforms and see what's aligned for you. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Samantha. It's been so lovely speaking with you.
You too, Anya. Thank you for having me.
Get your free 10K abundance activation today. This is a 2-part activation where we will first release subconscious money blocks from your energetic field to be able to receive abundance coming your way. Then you will sit in meditation and activate the energetics of consistent 10K months. To download this 10K activation, go to aniahalama.com/10K-activation.